Yeah, fellas, had a couple of strikes. Two here. Yeah, spot colour, I suppose. Might be important one day. Two strikes there, and we got one over here. So yeah, 3 strikes and you're out, 4 balls and a walk. I did tell you, fellas. No, just joking. But today's little experiment. Well, actually, I've got a couple, but I've got a personal one to do. But I've got this one to set up. I was thinking last night, and suddenly I think I had the light bulb moment. Oh yes, by the way, yeah, before we start this also adds to the light bulb moment in a way. This should become more noticeable over the next few days. But when I got to water these things this morning, there's a little bit of greening there. I'll see if I can move this round into the sun a bit so you can actually see if they're actually greening there. There, yeah. There's a little bit of greening there. I'm assuming I'm assuming that it might actually go all the way around in a circle in the wall of the pot sort of thing, so where the newspaper cellulose is sort of thing. So yeah, anyway, I'll keep an eye on it, and if because so far we've got to the stage of we've worked out quite a lot, and as I said, everything's a little bit bullshit, as I say. We've worked out that it's more to do with cellulose than peat. It's more to do with just having a thin surface layer of material and the rest being sand underneath. Yeah, and I keep thinking about Australia. It's the most bushfire prone continent on the planet with the most CPs. And like as I said last night, I suddenly had this light bulb moment because I said, because we had, if we go in again, for those who haven't already seen this, we had cyanophyte, well, looks like cyanophyte that's starting to grow on there, which I think is production as a result of probably nitrates or nitrification going on in the soil. And I was thinking of, again, I keep thinking about what Igor says. You do know that liverworts grow on limestone. Of course, the old backstory about we used to go to the Mycota Plant Society shows, and all these things used to come in from interstate. These fly traps, absolutely festooned with liverworts. And we had all this argument about the beaded things in the pots as well, whether osmocotes or whether snail eggs. And I said I think that was just like a cover story to. Yeah, it's in the darkness. I'm going to get into the sun for you. It's going to be a difficult one, fellas. And it was just it was like oscillating and vacillating between osmocotes and snail pellets. Is it one thing or the other? Don't look at the liverworts, because we don't have that European-centric mentality that my friend Igor Zakharov said. You know, you do know that liverworts grow on limestone. And I thank him for that, because I keep thinking about that, and because liverworts are just so hard to grow. And I suddenly had this light bulb moment: are they just because we've got this idea that you've got to grow the cyanophyte first to grow the liverwort sort of thing. If you can get cyanophyte growing in the pot, you can get a liverwort growing in the pot, because they're like a symbiotic relationship sort of thing. That's not what I want. I want these things, and I think. Is it more a case of liverworts just are opportunists? If you have nitrates in the soil, they just grow. They will grow. They're opportunists. That's where they'll be happy. And it's because we have these sort of Chernozem soils over in the Mongolian steppes. They're very rich in nutrients, because basically the soil basically colds out in a way, stops all the degradation reactions going, so all the nutrients just accumulate, because all the organisms that normally chomp them up get killed off by the ensuing cold, basically. And it just keeps happening on an annual cyclic basis, so the soils just keep getting richer and richer and richer, sort of thing. But then in these books they also talk about nitrate soils, but in the same books they also talk about nitrate being, one, soluble and two, mobile. And I'm thinking, well, how do you have nitrate soils? You know, and the only way I can think about having nitrate soils is they've got to be continually produced. And this is where I had my light bulb moment. I'm thinking, if you get nitrates continually produced, that's where you're going to have your liverworts, because they're if my idea they're opportunists, that's where they grow. So you've got to have damp soils where, you know, where nitrates accumulate, basically, on a regular basis. So basically all the nitrogen is coming from the atmosphere, but it's being, you know, accumulated. You don't have to have it coming from the atmosphere, but ultimately it always does come from the atmosphere. So yeah, therefore, so I'm thinking, we get this sand, we put our cellulose on it, and I've got now data coming back that maybe there's some nitrification going on there. And you know, if you've got a bucket of sand and you've got some cellulose around the walls and you're getting some what looks like nitrification and cyanophyta growing on there, you've got to question it. It's ultimately, it must be coming from the atmosphere, because it's sand, isn't it? You know, and you're flushing, but see, you're flushing it. You're doing this double flush thing. So it's all you always put, and that's another thing about the double flush is you can use crappy water because you're always flushing out. Because on the other side of that, you've got this idea, why are CPs so tolerant to salts? Why do they get up, you know, Capensis 11 grams per litre potassium in salt solution, you know, Venus flytraps and 22 grams, cephalotus somewhere between 22 and 33, they can really take a lot. Helium-4 at 33, along with Sericina, helium-4 really, really tough, you know. I would put them in the cephalotus category, but I think they can take more. And what else is out there? Drosera gigantea. And then I'm thinking Drosera gigantea, yes, the classic, the big one. The one that grows really big on deep sand. And I'm thinking, it's a flowery also trying to, not only is he, you know, these granite aprons, they're easy to, you know, go in there and dig up the tubers, because they're only a couple of centimetres down, so it's easy to harvest, easy money basically, you know, raping the bush sort of thing. If that's his thing sort of thing, I don't know. Anyway, but also on deep sand, he doesn't want you to see Drosera gigantea on deep sand, because it does ask you start you to ask the question, you know, these things are growing up 2 meters or more from down below through this sand, and I'm thinking, aha, is it the fact that if you're generating nitrates, the bigger your sand column, the more nitrate you will generate, even if it's only generated at the surface? If you extend that profile, you're extending the zone or the area where the nitrates are being produced, so you're getting more nitrates, sort of, basically. And then I suddenly had the light bulb moment, is, you know, because I said, you know, you get chalk, you know, an old bag of plaster, and you put sodium hydroxide on it, and you get the smell of ammonia coming off. Whereas if you put sodium hydroxide on sodium hydroxide, you don't get the smell of ammonia, so you've got to make the assumption that the ammonia is coming from the actual old bag of plaster, sort of thing. So in a way, it's fixing nitrogen from the atmosphere in the form of, well, I don't know how it's fixing, but it comes off as ammonia. So, of course, that ammonia can become nitrates, of course, through nitrification, and because that occurs at certain pH bands. You know, it only occurs at certain pH bands. Like, it doesn't occur in very acid soil, sort of thing. So I'm thinking it's all coming together, and I'm going back to old photographs of old experiments, and I'm thinking, I'm ticking, yeah, right, wrong. You know, I'm going back and saying, I got that right. Nah, it didn't work because I got that wrong, and things like that. And one of the things I did do is I made some aluminium borate. I made it up myself, you know, because you can. I wanted to, and I thought it was going to do something good, and it was the worst one I've ever done, sort of thing. And I think it's because with aluminium borate, it's going like that, you know, 2 arrows pointing into each other, sort of thing. That's why it didn't work. It's totally the wrong way. I wasn't thinking about the thing in the right way. Anyway, having said all this, if we can get this one to work, what I'm going to do is set up a pot where I get this pot. And basically we're going to do the same. It's going to be sand and cellulose on the top, but down the bottom I'm going to put the chalk down the bottom, sort of thing. And so I'm going to take ourselves our bag of sidewalk chalk, sort of thing. Yeah, sidewalk chalk. Hopefully it'll focus in on that. Doesn't matter about the colour, it's chalk. I don't think it's going to be important because it's going to be on the bottom of the floor and the things are going to be flushing out. It's not that. What I think it does, I don't really want to get into the details of the chemistry.